Hey everybody, it's TT and welcome to another edition of Tap In with TT. My special guest today, Daryl Bell. He is an actor and an amazing person who has done extraordinary things. He doesn't need no introduction. And also Kadeem Hardison, one of my favorite. Can I call you like a super OG? Is that cool? Like,
Super OG is good. Yeah, this is old Super OG
yeah.
right here. I
That
earned it.
that crown of splendor. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. What up,
Best
TT?
for, hey, of course, everybody,
BT.
we know you from your role as Dwayne Wade in the television series A Different World. So, one of my favorite shows growing up. So it's an honor to speak to you. It's an honor to speak to both of you today. Welcome to the show, guys.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Glad to be here.
What's happening?
So it's all about the HBCU Classic. Of course, it is going down September 16th, the day after my son's birthday. That's how I remember it.
Yeah, yeah.
Virgo
Happy
season.
birthday.
So it's Morehouse and I believe Albany State playing. Who you guys got?
Morehouse.
That's a really good question. I haven't seen. It's early in the season. I haven't seen either team play, so I don't know how to handicap the game. I got to be
Okay.
honest.
Look
I
at
kind of
that.
want to go with Morehouse too, but I feel like because I'm in New York, I kind of gotta
That's
ride
true.
New York
You got to
way.
rep with New
That's
York.
true. That's
Yeah,
true. Yeah,
that's what's up.
I'm changing mine. I like that. I'm going with Albany.
Yeah. So both of you guys started in a different world. Did you guys have any HBCU experience prior to making that hit television series?
We did a movie together called School Days, which probably a year or two, a year and a half before, that was about black life on a HBCU, like life on college, in
Shout out to
college.
Spike Lee.
Shout out to Spike. So yeah, so that was my introduction to it because coming from New York, I'd never heard of HBCUs. I didn't know they existed. I didn't know what a homecoming was. There was a whole lot that was missing from my orbit about that whole space. So yeah, so before we shot School Days, Spike took a handful of us down to Homecoming in Atlanta, and so I got to see a little bit there, and then we shot the movie, and I got to feel more of it there, and that was about as much experience as I had before we did A Different World. Take it away,
Wow.
Daryl.
That's interesting because you embodied both of those characters in the movie and also on a series, and the fact that you didn't go to a HBCU, um but you could tell that you really studied it and that experience really brought some life to the projects.
hmm Yeah, it was easy to play. It was be a young man, go to school, which I had gone to school, I just not college. So
Right.
here I come playing a freshman in college. So yeah, it was brand new to me. So easy, it was all brand new to me anyway. So just rolling with that and keeping that energy. And then as the show went on, I got some more experience and I grew as it grew.
Yeah, and as the character grew you took on different layers, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And they wrote
Absolutely.
them up pretty good. The writing was phenomenal on the show. So it was a lot of fun to play.
I love it. Daryl, how about you?
So first, I was gonna say, I was trying to rep my cool like you, TC, but I'm not as cool as you, so I'm gonna give up my glasses. So I
It's
was.
only because I don't have makeup on. That's it. That's it. That's the only reason
Well,
why.
that's what's up. That's what's up. Well, for me, it was really different because I grew up always intending on going to college, and what was interesting for me, I had so many friends who went to either Howard or Morehouse, and oddly enough, particularly in what was portrayed in School Days, all of that was me, and why being cast as this middle class, African American kid who was interested in college and Greek life, because I had friends that would say, you should come with me to Howard's homecoming. It's so much fun. And I was like, whatever. And at the same time, they would say, we also have a house on Martha's Vineyard. You should come with us to the vineyard. I was like,
Oh,
whatever.
Damn.
did you go?
For years, I resisted all of it until I ultimately went to both places and had the best time of my life.
Did
And
you go
both.
to Martha's Vineyard um for like Black Week? Because you know there's like a thing there at Martha's Vineyard where all the black people get together and they have like parties and
That's
barbecues.
right.
It's an experience.
It is. And so for me, and it's changed so much because now it's just like out of control, right? So you have to think back in the 70s, like when I was in high school in the 70s, my friends who lived on Martha's Vineyard would tell me you got to come because then it was, oh gosh, I'm it's is it Jason's Lyric?
Yeah.
That's
Oh no. The one about
with
Inkwell.
The Inkwell.
Oh,
That's exactly right.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
that was Martha's Vineyard.
Yes, it was. That's what it was like for Black folks who lived on the island outside of the 4th of July, Labor Day, and Memorial Day weekend, which were the party weekends. So the island had, I think the island has residents of about 14,000. And then on those special holiday weekends, 4th of July, Labor Day, and Memorial Day, now they get like up to 90,000 people on the island. It's just, it's bananas.
Yeah, it's something. I experienced it a few years ago. A friend of mine invited me. And after many, many years of like, I went and I was like, oh my God, it's just so enriched in Black culture, the Black experience. I went to Norfolk State University. So, well, I always wanted to go to HBCU. I was either going to go to Clark Atlanta or Norfolk State was my pick. And I went to Norfolk State because, they held everybody from New York on the campus, my little visit there. So I was like, okay, I have to go here. But it's just something about the spirit of HBCU. If it wasn't for WNSB 91.1, my first college radio station, I wouldn't have been able to make a career out of radio. And to talk about Martha's Vineyard and talk about these experiences, it's so enriched in Black culture. And that's what I also love about the HBCU Classic, right? Because it's such a family event, with the Yard Fest and the Stepper, the line. It's just so incredible. Last year I was the in-stadium host. I'm going to be the in-stadium host again this year.
Great. And
so the energy is just like when they're screaming and the people going crazy. It's like nobody parties like, okay? Nobody parties like us, okay?
And
so
you
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, you touched on two things that are really important about this weekend from your own experience. One is all of the high school students they're inviting to participate in the Toyota HBCU New York Classic. Because for many high school students, all HBCU presidents will tell you, just like your experience at Norfolk State, once you come to the campus and can experience campus life, you are 90% more likely to enroll because now you know what you're getting yourself into. And that's exactly what you described. So part of this weekend is inviting high school sophomores, juniors, and seniors to come and experience and talk with all of the administrators from Morehouse and Albany State about what their prospects are for college life. And that's essential in continuing to grow enrollment at HBCUs. One of the things we're most proud of with the Different World is that when we were on in prime time, we doubled enrollment at HBCUs. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's amazing. I never knew that. That's amazing. Yeah. Because you guys were really bringing like the culture to TV, right? And at a time where you didn't see much of that, like you didn't see much of like Black culture on a mainstream television network, and at the time you guys were on.
It's 100% right. And we attribute that mostly, certainly, I mean, give credit, the show was created for Lisa Bonet and Bill Cosby, who was always an advocate for college and supporter of particularly Black colleges. But in our second season, Howard alum Debbie Allen, Force of Nature, came on board, and that's when it went next level. And Debbie brought her own experiences from Howard, as well as our head writer, Susan Fales, who's a Harvard graduate, and Yvette Lee Bowser, who was a Stanford grad. They all infused their college life experiences to make an HBCU experience authentic on television. And that's what we did with A Different World.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I remember, my first introduction was through the Upward Bound program.
Yeah.
Through that program, we were able to take a tour bus and visit many different colleges, from Atlanta to North Carolina to South Carolina to Virginia. So I think, having not only A Different World, but also different avenues like the HBCU Classic and like Upward Bound programs to expose many people to what it's like, right? Because we hear all these conversations about, the government now pouring money into HBCUs and now have politicized it. But, these programs and these classics have been around for quite some time, and HBCUs are really some people's only way into college, right? That
No.
can't afford to go to like an elite school that costs so much money. So I think it's important that we continue these conversations and we have these programs because it's for us, and we have to protect that in a way, if that makes sense.
Well, that's also really important that most kids who are looking for financial assistance, you are going to get more financial assistance for an institution that is in your state. So looking at an HBCU, particularly if there's one close to you, is a really smart option and decision to make because you will get an elite and world-class education at an HBCU and have the benefits of Greek life, of step shows, of Battle of the Bands, of homecoming. And that's what this weekend and the Toyota HBC New York Classic is all about, representing and highlighting all of that college life experience.
Yeah. Is it weird for you guys as at the time that y'all was filming A Different World and growing up in that era? Was it weird for y'all to separate from the character because y'all did so well on the show? I'm sure people were like calling you by your actor name for a very long time.
Yeah, but that's part of the gig, though. If you do something well and people accept it and they fully they love it, then it's only right that that's how they recognize you and that's what they connect you with, because we were in their living rooms every Thursday night at 8:30. It wasn't like they had to pay money and go out and barking and popcorn to see us and experience. It was right there in your house, shoes off, boom, remote, and here I am with my favorite characters or my, I like this guy, I like this guy, I like this girl. Yeah, I it wasn't weird. I mean, at one point, I think when I was 23 and I really felt like I'm an actor and don't call me the way, and there was a little bit of that, but I got over that quick because it was all just love. And you know what I mean? If you can't accept the love that you've kind of created, then you're in the wrong business.
Absolutely. And we're celebrating 50 years of hip hop. Of course, when we think about A Different World, we think about HBCU. It's all culture, right? It's all culture. What do you guys anticipate as we get into HBCU Classic and what's to come, especially with the battles of the bands as we celebrate 50 years of hip hop on September 16th?
Kay, you go first.
Shoot, I have no idea what to expect. I am going in completely blind. I am going to be open and to experience it all. So I'm really like, where are we going? What's happening? Okay, I can't wait. Let's see. Let's get into it. Now you go, Daryl.
For me, I think back to KRS-One. If we're going to talk about 50 years of hip hop and classic, when he was talking about 50 years down the line, we can start this because then we'll be the old school artists, because rap as a whole isn't even 20 years old. I mean, now here we are. Here we are, we are the old school artists, and rap has reached 50, and it's just so different now. And it's amazing to see, if you put together everybody's, because everybody loves the conversation, who the top 5 MCs of all time, the top 5 rap groups of all time, right? And who are they? And if you don't have old school artists in your top 5 somewhere, it's a fake list. You know what I'm saying? It's just a fake list. Stop.
Come on, that's not fair. That's
I'm
not
sorry.
You about to
fair.
start some drama. You
That's
about to
not.
start
That's
some
You
drama.
not
can't.
fair.
You can't have a list with the top 5 without at least one old school artist in your top 5.
That's not
Stop.
fair,
Stop.
bro. It's
Stop.
top is relative to you and where you were
No.
at the time.
No. Sorry.
Yes.
No, it's
It's
not.
only
No, it's not.
I got old school in my list because
Yes.
of where I was at the time. But for somebody who hadn't had that experience, how could they legitimately like really have Rakim and KRS in their top 5 when all they know is 21 Savage and Lil Yachty? You know what I mean? Like that's what they know. So how could they? And real, like they could go back and do history and study it, but it's not the music of today. So how could they? Go ahead, speak now.
Okay, so TG, you see my head is about to explode, right? My head is just about to blow up. You know, the fact that J.K. Rowling or Shonda Rhimes or Stephen King are spectacular writers, is suddenly Shakespeare garbage? What are we talking about? You
garbage. Saying that it's
that's right. They didn't say garbage.
That's true. All I'm saying to you is, I will take back garbage. I am simply saying that Shakespeare isn't any less great because new artists have come along. So you can't measure greatness without a barometer with which you can compare it and contrast it against. You can't have pain without pleasure. So if you're not setting some type of contrast, it is an erroneous equation. That being said,
and another thing you can't do is call somebody's list a fake list because they don't have Shakespeare on it. Because Stephen King is where it starts for them and then goes forward to J.K. Rowling because they didn't have Shakespeare. They didn't study Shakespeare and didn't read it and didn't get to experience it. You can't say that your list is fake. It's all personal, bro. It's all personal.
What I would say to that now I'm gonna get real deep is to say that I didn't say that your list is fake if you don't have Shakespeare. I said if you don't
if you don't have
stop. Sorry, let me tell you what I said. If you don't have an old school artist in your list. So it doesn't have to be LL. It doesn't have to be Chuck D. It doesn't have to be Big Daddy Kane or Rakim. It doesn't have to be KRS-One. But if you don't have any of them in your top 5 list, can't hear you. Now that at the same time, any list to me that doesn't have Kendrick Lamar on it or doesn't have Big Boy on it or someone who is a current and contemporary lyrical master craftsman is equally as illegitimate. I can recognize both. So all I'm saying to you is that in putting together, and what's so funny is this is what I got started on this because we were talking about what led us down this road. I don't know.
We're celebrating. You know, we're having HBCU Classic, and it's 50 years of hip hop, and of course,
50 years of hip hop, right?
And the Battle of the Bands,
right? And we were talking about 50 years of hip hop, and so to acknowledge the 50 years, that's what I was saying. Yeah, if in order to acknowledge its history. History is incumbent in the definition of history. You have to know history. So to inform your decision or your worldview of today, if you are ignorant of history, it doesn't have the same credibility as one that is informed by the past. And I would say to suggest, now this is where we go down a theological rabbit hole, to say that because someone didn't experience it, therefore they can't know it, is almost like the argument to say, so if someone who lives in the Amazon forest has never been exposed to the Bible, therefore they cannot know God, is a equally fake analogy. I'm saying that,
bro.
We're gonna pick up this debate.
Yeah. Come see us.
I
Come see us, 'cause
told you.
I'm getting ready to wash him.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Wait,
We're gonna pick this up on September 16th.
that's right. That's right. We're gonna
Tickets
pick this
are
up on
available now.
16.
Everybody get your tickets. HBCU Classic, Morehouse versus Albany. We're trying to debate who we're gonna go with. We'll have our final picks closer to the day.
And don't forget, we're going to be at the Apollo Theater having this debate. And that's going to be on that Thursday, the 14th. We're going to have the great debate at the Apollo Theater. Jasmine Guy will be with us there as well. So join us there too.
Awesome.
Yeah, come watch him get washed.
Yeah.
Well, I love you guys. Thank you so much for taking the time out to speak with me
For
today.
sure.
Enjoy
Thank
your
you,
day.
TT.
And I'll see you guys on September 16th at the HBCU Classic.
We will. Oh,
All right.
6?
See you.